If you believe the saying that big things come in small packages, well, we've got a big volleyball game from the small confines of the Eden Prairie High School Small Gymnasium. We call it a big matchup because we have two top 10 teams in Class 4A ready to do battle. The Eden Prairie Eagles, number 10 in the most recent poll at 3-1, host the Bloomington Jefferson Jaguars at 6-3. Jefferson, 4th in the most recent poll. Hello everyone, I'm Mike Beaton, all by myself, talking to myself. That's Chaos Theory. Data is limited in terms of kills, aces, and the like, but this Eden Prairie team has a lot of cohesiveness. It's a senior-heavy group that features a pair of Division I recruits in Kendall Minta and Cameron Berger, and that talent has helped Eden Prairie make a splash in the early part of the season. Their signature win came against Lakeville South. Lakeville South, a preseason top 10 team in 4A. Eden Prairie knocked them off in straight sets. They're looking to bounce back after coming up short against Southwest Christian, the number 1 team in Class 2A. The last set, 15-13, Chad Becker felt a little more consistency and the outcome would have been different, but he said this team overall, they do all the little things, the intangibles, the chemistry, the vibe. This is a group that gets along. All the teams work together. The seniors mentor the younger folks. And that has culminated in a remarkable start to the season. Of course, Eden Prairie has yet to take on some of the late conference powers, Minnetonka and Wayzata. But the prospects are looking good for this Eagles team that hopes to continue their surprise run. Bloomington Jefferson, emblematic of the parity we have seen in Class 4A this season. They shot up to second in a recent poll after they knocked off Perennial Egan in 5 sets in early September. They've lost 3 of the last 4, and one of their top players suffered an injury, won't be able to play tonight. So Jefferson looking to bounce back, but they're going to have to do so shorthanded. That being said, they have plenty of athletes on the roster. You might remember them with their big win over Lakeville North a couple of years ago. Bloomington Jefferson, one of the teams to keep an eye on year in and year out coming out of the Metro West. They lost to New Prague, another conference rival, a new one that is, who also has a volleyball acumen. So Bloomington Jefferson will have to work through a little adversity, but the theme this year is parity. So we'll see if Bloomington Jefferson can bring that next woman up and give the Jaguars another statement win. We'll be back to tip things off. You're watching high school volleyball.
Twin Cities Sports Broadcasting, and a whole lot more. That's what you get from TSB Television. We provide long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes from the preps to the pros. Dazzling moves.
Holloman, good if it goes. Yes!
Game winners.
From James. She's in trouble. Finds James. Toss shot! It goes in!
And everything in between.
Before we let you go, do you want to say hi to anybody?
Oh, I don't know. That put me on the spot there.
If you want to connect with our audience, visit us at patreon.com/TSB Television or sponsor our coverage through PayPal and Cash App. Thank you for watching.
And now it's time for the introduction, starting with the Jaguars and tonight's server. Number 1, DS and center, Emma Olsen. Number 2, outside and right side, Ellie Sieling. Number 4, middle and outside and captain, Melanie Meyer. Number 5, middle and right side, Ava Munt. Number 9, center, Maddie Lecker. Number 11, middle and right side, Paige Flowers. Number 14, middle, Bryn Power. Number 15, right side, Sonoma Erickson. Now for tonight's starters, beginning with number 3. Right side, outside, and captain, Cassie Sieling. Number 6, tonight's libero, Tabitha Atkins. Number 8, BS and outside, Paris Alvarez. Number 10, outside and right side, Lauren Wiskus. Number 12, outside and right side, Allie Claire. Number 9, senior middle and right side, Tori Cole. Number 10, senior right side and outside, Annika Wang. And number 14, senior right side and outside, Val Booth. Now for tonight's starter, beginning with number 1, senior libero, Caitlin Jensen. Number 3, junior middle and right side, Evelyn Scannon. Number 7, junior outside and right side, Lillian Hickness. Number 8, junior center and right side, Cameron Berger. Number 11, senior right side, outside and captain, Paige O'Connell. Number 12, senior center, right side and captain, Piper Lang. And number 13, senior middle, right side and captain, Kendall Minta. Eagles are coached by Chad Berger. Chad is assisted by Steph Chadwick. Kelsey Snyder and Molly Johnson. Last but certainly not least, lineman will be done by Kirsten Welcher and Amelia Collier. Tonight's second referee is Jody Oldroom. Tonight's upper ref is Michelle Snyder. Now, if everybody's ready, let the fun begin.
Let the fun begin indeed. As you noticed with the introductions, Ellie Sieling not available tonight for Jefferson due to injury. And for Eden Prairie, we mentioned the 2 Division I commits on this roster. Cameron Berger going to Illinois State, and Kendall Minta headed to Bradley. Bradley, the home of a few Minnesota volleyball and basketball athletes. Both schools located in Illinois. Bradley and Illinois State, that is. Eden Prairie 3-1. They haven't competed in any weekend tournaments yet. Jefferson dropped 3 in the Southwest Minnesota Challenge, including a 3-set loss to Champlain Park. They did beat Hutchinson and lost in straight sets to Minneota. But they have that signature win over Egan. Crystal Dolman, the head coach for Jefferson. Chad Becker, the head coach for Eden Prairie. Mike Beaton, all by myself, talking to myself. Well, actually, I'm not all by myself because I'm surrounded by fans. It's a small gym, and the reason we play here as opposed to the primary competition gymnasium that you often see for volleyball, it's a preference. The students like the atmosphere. It gets loud in the student section, and no basketball lines to worry about. It does make for an odd setup on our end. Normally we'd have one camera on either side, and it also makes balls a little trickier to play. Eden Prairie will score the first point. Kendall Minta with a shot down the middle. The Bradley commit. So our 2 baseline cameras we had to put on the left end from this vantage point, covering the corners. So if you're wondering about axis and vantage points, that's what we had to do, because where Eden Prairie is serving and Caitlin Jensen is, even though there's that red line, that padded wall is there because that entire space is considered playable. So we can't put any camera ops there as a safety precaution. But as always, we find a way to make it work. Eden Prairie scoring the first point. Cross-court shot, and the up provided by Cameron Berger, the Illinois State commit. Blocked by Minta. Jefferson will have to try again. Jensen with the dig, but a ball handling error, double contact on Eden Prairie. So that extended rally goes in Jefferson's favor, and Eden Prairie not able to capitalize on those digs. It's youth night, so the youth are trying to pack in the bleachers there. Let's serve. Deflected. And that will fall for a point for Lillian Eknes. Eden Prairie gets into the meat of late conference competition at the end of September with St. Michael Albertville and Minnetonka. The Skippers, one of the perennials in Class 4A. Service error on the Eagles. And Champ Becker noted consistency would be key. Overpass on the serve receive. Jefferson with the free ball. Setter dump, but double contact. Well, someone hit the net apparently. I see 3. I believe somebody hit the net. Kendall Minta with the heat. And in the words of Truman Burbank, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. That is how hard Kendall can hit. Minta plays vital, or I should say played vital at the club level. And she comes up with the block. So Minta making her presence felt early in this first set. Still early, of course. Jefferson. That was a net call, and number 12, Allison Clare, got a little too close. It would have been a kill, but because she made contact with the net, that's a point for Eden Prairie. As you know, you cannot cross the net in any capacity. You cannot touch the net either. Piper Lane with the up. But Jefferson with a quality chance. They go off speed, but a hitting error on Lauren Wiskus. Remember, Jefferson playing without one of their top hitters, Ellie Sieling, due to injury. Eden Prairie takes the early 6-3 lead. Timeout Jefferson, their first of 2 in this set. Officially, this is the small gymnasium. Volleyball and gymnastics events are held here. It gets a little warm, no AC, but we do have a rock climbing wall and lots of young fans wearing luau's, bonnier. Those are leis, right? They're wearing leis. I said luau's. Luau's a dance. It's tropical night, and so is the student section. Everyone wearing leis, except me, because I'm not a very tropical person. I'm a very cold Arctic kind of guy. All right, I'll show myself out. Eden Prairie, as we said, in a couple of weeks, we'll get into the meat of late conference play. St. Michael Albertville, Minnetonka, and Wayzata on the road. And they wrap up the regular season against Egan. Jefferson has a big game at the end of the season when they host Wayzata. And they also will play Concordia Academy September 30th, part of an annual series. Eden Prairie sets up to the left, but that will be a hitting error, as that attack did not cross the net. 6-4 the score, but Jefferson has yet to score on a kill. All their points have come from errors of some kind. Off-speed hit by Paige O'Connell. Alvarez, big save by the Eagles. And nobody there! Cameron Berger with the save. I believe Paige O'Connell lobbed it, and nobody was home for Jefferson. Eden Prairie finds the spot in no woman's land, and that hustle play pays off 4 points. You never know what will happen. Minta too hard. Look out, Alex. (7-5) the score. Oh, there's a kid next to me with a lay. How come I didn't get one? Going back to serve for the Jaguars is Olivia Upstad, number 18. Minta rotating out for now, and a hitting error charged to the Eagles. As we said, Jefferson, all their points thus far have come from miscues. They have yet to land an attack. Let's serve. Eden Prairie attacks from the left side. The Jefferson block was ready, but an overpass will hand the point to EP. Jefferson got the tip on the block, but the bump was a little too far, and approach angle so crucial in this sport. EP throws down the block that time. Evelyn Scadam with the rejection. Eden Prairie, it's been feast or famine. And we've seen a little bit of everything, but when they're on, they are on. Ball handling error on Jefferson. That awards the point to Eden Prairie. Unofficially, the Eagles with 5 kills, Jefferson with none. And a rotation violation on Jefferson. You don't see that often, but Eden Prairie gets another point out of it. So a couple of miscues on the part of Jefferson. Remember, they're without one of their top hitters, and they might be having some difficulty adjusting to the circumstances. They get this play in. Berger with the up. Jefferson recovers, but a free ball is coming Eden Prairie's way. From the left side, Jefferson throws down the block. I believe Eleanor Erickson got a piece of it. Here's Tabitha Achatz. 11-7 the score. Jefferson used one of their 2 timeouts already. And that serve goes out of bounds. And EP hands Jefferson a point back on a service error. Eagles struggling a little bit. Paige O'Connell with the service error that time. EP with 3 already. They do lead 12-8 though, and it goes to attacks, or I should say it comes down to attacks, and Alvarez serves it into the net. 3 straight service errors, and we're trading points. But the big difference thus far, unofficially, Eden Prairie with 5 kills, Jefferson 0. Jefferson did score on a block, but they have yet to land a kill. Overpass on the serve receive, and an easy tap down for Lillian Eknes. That has to change. Jefferson's offense has to find a way to score on hits if they want to hang with Eden Prairie. That's going to be a point for Eden Prairie. The official saw it. Now here comes the whistle. Number 17 was rejected, but Eleanor Erickson made contact with the net. And as we said before, you cannot touch the net in any way. Eden Prairie lands an ace from the arm of Caitlin Jensen, the 5'6" libero. Good hustle play by the Eagles, and they get the save. Once again, they turn a save into a point. Minta batted a free ball. Jefferson was confused. They thought the play was over. They get called for a lift violation. So officially it goes down as a ball handling error, but that was set up by the diving set by Eden Prairie. And Jefferson finally scores on a kill. Cassie Sieling. But EP with a 17-9 lead. Jefferson looking a little out of sorts. Several net calls. They had that lift violation. They've got to be a little more attentive in this battle of number 4 and number 10. And that will go down as a tape kill for Piper Lang. And service to Eden Prairie. As we said before, if you're wondering about the camera angles, it's a small gym, so we've got to make friends in tight spaces. Jensen with a big up. That will go down as a tape kill for Cassie Sieling. You might remember the Sielings, Cassie and Ellie. They were heroes in that game with Lakeville North that we covered for you 2 years ago. A 5-set thriller. Kendall Minta winds up, fires, and lands another point for Eden Prairie. Her third kill in the first set. And the Eagles still lead comfortably, 19-10. Jefferson goes right. They set up for Minta. Oh, Minta mistimed the jump, I think. Had the right idea, but didn't quite catch up to the ball. So Jefferson serving. And that's going to be 4 touches. I thought that could come into play. There were a couple of contacts on that block. Eden Prairie closing in on a first set win, 20-11. Minta serving. Jefferson able to save it. We noted before, space an issue. The bench is right underneath us. Evelyn Scadam from the middle knocks it in for a point, but the bench is directly underneath us, or close to underneath where I'm standing. And that bench extends all the way to the corners. That's why we're set up in that corner near the youth section, because that's the only spot we can set up without interfering. Jefferson will make a rotation. Emma Olson goes out. Eleanor Erickson comes in. And Opstad will go back to serve. Eden Prairie up comfortably, and what's the ruling going to be? Net ball on number 11, net call, I should say, on Paige O'Connell. It would have been a point for Eden Prairie, but O'Connell could not stop herself in time and made contact with the net. So take away the point for Eden Prairie, but they still lead by 8. Now 9 following the service error. Two kills for Jefferson, both coming from Cassie Sieling. 9 from Eden Prairie unofficially in this first set. That is the big stat line. make it 3 for Jefferson, as Eden Prairie misread the dig a little bit. Hackett's to serve. That looks out, and it is. The second service error. Jefferson with 4 service errors, 3 ball handling errors. Unofficially, but Jefferson doesn't look all that composed here. But it's an untimed sport, so they have plenty of time to make corrections, and a hitting error will go against Sieling. Eden Prairie up big. Really big. And Eden Prairie won't need those 10 set points because tapping down the overpass was Lillian Agnes, and Eden Prairie wins the first set in a runaway 25-14. And it all comes down to the hitting game. Unofficially, 10 kills for Eden Prairie in the first set, just 3 for Jefferson, and they all came from Cassie Sieling. So Jefferson, they've got a little work to do on offense if they want to correct this trend, but Eden Prairie off to an emphatic start. We'll take a break and come back for the second set in a moment.
When the high school season is over, TSP Television goes on the highlight trail. Our highlight reels provide you with a valuable resource for recruiters and a keepsake of your favorite athlete. To learn more about our highlight reel services, contact us at tsptelevision@gmail.com.
Mike Peden all by myself talking to myself. That's Chaos Theory. Eden Prairie off to a roaring start, leading Bloomington Jefferson 25-14. High school volleyball. We'd like to welcome all of you watching this on our YouTube channel and locally on BEC TV. One of the many stations grateful enough to syndicate our coverage, and without them, we couldn't bring you these games. As we go around the metro, CCX, 9 North, Valley Access channels, and BEC TV among the stations that have syndicated our coverage, and we want to thank them for their support. Hitting is going to be the crucial element. 10 kills unofficially for Eden Prairie, 3 for Jefferson. The Jaguars will serve to start set number 2. But Jefferson, they've got to find a way to get some points outside of Sieling. Otherwise, it's going to be a quick evening for the Eagles. And that might not bother them because it is kind of warm in here. Eden Prairie off to a flying start once again. Lillian Agnes follows up her set-clinching kill with the first point of the second set on the cut shot. Here's Piper Lang. Another save by Eden Prairie. Set up by the dig from Caitlin Jensen. And we have a difference of opinion between the head ref and the down ref. So while we're on this break, we'll let you know about Eden Prairie. All the teams get together in the first week, and Chad Becker feels that helps create the chemistry that starts from the seniors and goes all the way down to the younger squads. He said the middles can score, the outside hitters are coming into form, and that will be a point for Jefferson after the discussion. And we'd like to remind you that we have Plenty more volleyball coverage coming your way. If you're following along on our YouTube channel, the next game will be Champlin Park and Centennial. Our first visit to Centennial in a long time. Lang touched the net. Eknes, I should say, touched the net. Eden Prairie, they've had a couple of points nullified by getting too close to the net. They're going to have to be mindful of that. Jefferson serves that out of bounds. That makes it 2-2. The first service error on Olsen, but Eden Prairie has had a couple of points taken away from contact with the net, and that's something they'll have to clean up, especially when they get to the top of the Lake Conference with Wayzata and Minnetonka. Miscommunication on the attack from Jefferson. That gives Eden Prairie a chance. Jefferson making a play there. That will bounce off the wall. Lauren Wiskus to serve for Jefferson. Into the net. Service errors have been a huge problem for the Jaguars. 6 in this game. And in rally scoring, where there's a point on every play, that's a lot of points you're conceding. But again, this Jefferson team is having to adjust without one of their top hitters. Ellie Sieling was hurt in Tuesday's game with New Prague. The Trojans won in 4 sets. And not having one of your go-tos in Ellie Sieling might have been why, as Bloomington Jefferson played well. We have a quick conference. Eden Prairie awaiting the serve. Crystal Dolman using the opportunity to talk to Cassie Sieling, and now she's going to have a conversation with the officials. I haven't seen a game with this many stoppages. Looking ahead for Jefferson, the point has been affirmed. It is Eden Prairie's serve here. Looking ahead, Jefferson, Concordia Academy, Lakeville North resuming that series. Jefferson will go on the road and play the Panthers October 7th. Panthers Live will have coverage of that one. The Jaguars host Chaska on October 12th. That game could have implications in the Metro West, with Chaska a top 10 team. Of course, it depends on the health of Ellie Sieling. And after an extended delay, we're finally ready to resume play. And Eden Prairie is ready to throw down the block. Stoppage in play. It's going to be Jefferson point. Contact with the net by Cameron Berger, and once again, trouble with the net is hampering Eden Prairie here. They're going to have to clean that up. And that time, a hitting error. Eden Prairie reads that serve well. Another serve that goes out of bounds. Melanie Meyer with her first service error. 7 service errors for the Jaguars. Eden Prairie's block. Ferocious, but once again, contact with the net. So Jefferson scores another point. Piper Lang, I think, got a little too close. And oddly, Jefferson hanging with Eden Prairie, even though they only have 1 kill. They get a service ace that time from Olivia Upstad. The first ace of the game for the Jaguars. And they lead 7-5. Upstad serves that one out of bounds, her second service error. If Eden Prairie can clean up some of these miscues, especially the net calls, they could coast with this. Because they look like the more fluid team on offense. Free ball for the Jaguars. Jefferson thought they had it. Well, they will score because of the hitting error that it will be charged to Lillian Eknes as her attack went into the net. But Jefferson's points are coming from miscues. While Eden Prairie is finding some attacking prowess, Lillian Eknes picks up her 5th kill unofficially. She had 3 in the first set. She and Minta have done quite well. And an ace for Caitlin Jensen. Nobody made the play on the serve receive for Jefferson. And we're tied at infinity. I like saying that. Let's serve. Berger with the up. Here comes Eknes again. Jefferson with the dig. The line shot lands for number 10, Lauren Wiskus. And that's what Jefferson needs. They've got to get some other players involved on the attack. 9-8 the score. Neither side has used the timeout yet. I will say the Eden Prairie Gym, even though it's small, it's the first venue I have visited where the scoreboard includes the set score. Now what? Alvarez letting a few kids through. It's a tight fit here. What's going on? I haven't seen a delay like this. Barris Alvarez isn't quite sure what's happening. And this is taking place with the officials having another conversation alongside Cassie Sieling. I've never seen anything like this. Neither is Bonnie. I'm not exactly sure what the situation is. And we don't have a mic or a GoPro to explain why that is. We mentioned some of the teams to look for Eden Prairie. They haven't competed in a weekend tournament yet, but Chad Becker mentioned the section will be a brutal one. 7 teams with the expansion to 4 classes. We see a similar makeup like we do in basketball, so 7 8-team pods. Section 2 has several top 10 teams. Chaska, Minnetonka, and Shakopee alongside Eden Prairie. So we resume action after another delay. Minta's back on the court. A couple of defensive efforts by Piper Lang. We have a stoppage in play. Jefferson made contact with the net. Emma Olsen got a little too close. So that will tie the score at 9. And hopefully we don't have too many more stoppages of confusion. We've had a couple of conversations with the officials and Cassie Sieling. Minta hits that into the net, but she didn't get the best of setups from Berger. It didn't look like the pass was on the mark, and Minta just whiffed it. But regarding the earlier delays with the officials' conversations, if any volleyball aficionados are watching and can explain why that is, I'd be happy to hear from you. Alvarez with the dig. The officials are calling those net plays tightly. So a point for Jefferson and a timeout called by Eden Prairie. 11-9 the score. Eden Prairie handing Jefferson a lot of free points here due to the net calls. The net, the center line, you can't cross any of that. With this timeout, we'd like to thank BEC TV once more for syndicating this game on local television, and we'd like to welcome all of you watching on YouTube as well. We have been slowly getting our audience back as we resume our high school sports coverage after we took a season off due to the pandemic. So we hope to continue that. We'll have to see how things play out, but no restrictions of any kind. Even though we're still in the middle of the Delta surge, I've got a feeling we won't see any more shutdowns as long as there's a vaccine in play. And Kendall Minta making a fine play for Eden Prairie. A welcome sight for the Eagles and exactly what you want to see coming out of an ATO play. But the second set, a litany of errors for Eden Prairie, mostly concerning the net. And Jefferson hands another point to Eden Prairie. They've struggled to communicate sets on a few occasions. And they've given Eden Prairie a couple of points over the course of this one. And that serve receive will go into the bleachers. Not playable. And an ace for Lillian Eknes, the 5'11 junior. Was that touched? No. Hitting error on Jefferson. The Eagles have scored 4 in a row. Make it 5 in a row as that block falls just inside the line. Five straight points for Eden Prairie. They lead by 3, 14-11 in set 2. Already have set 1 in the bag. And another block. Well, officially a lift violation on Jefferson, but give credit to the play up front by Kendall Minta, the 6'3" middle blocker. Also plays right side. Minta going off speed, yes! Berger set her up, and Minta was able to sell the fake. using the teardrop to perfection. 7 straight points for the Eagles. And Jefferson hanging on to their timeouts for now. But this run, now 8-0, following the setter dump by Cameron Berger, is indicative of the opportunities Eden Prairie cultivates when their offense is in sync. Jefferson finally calls a timeout. 8 straight points for the Eagles. They trailed 11-9, now they lead 17-11. And you noticed throughout that run, well, obviously they didn't have any net calls, because if they did, it would have given a point to Jefferson, but that is the key over these last few points. Eden Prairie not coughing up anything, and when you're not making miscues, they have the stronger attacking game. Jefferson, only 2 players have officially recorded a kill, and again, they're down one of their top hitters. So this game, we're seeing what happens when Eden Prairie is able to play mistake-free volleyball. Kendall Minta making her mark, Lillian Eknes as well, and Cameron Berger scoring on the setter dump. You look at the kills, and they skew heavily in Eden Prairie's favor. So both teams with a timeout used up. The student section is ready to go bananas. Serve receive too strong. And an easy slam for Paige O'Connell, who has recorded a few kills in this one. Eknes to serve, the junior. Double contact on Jefferson. And you look at all the metrics, Jefferson's struggling heavily. Another ball handling error. Six ball handling errors on Jefferson, just 1 for Eden Prairie unofficially. The only knock on the Eagles in this game has been the net plays. Eden Prairie giving up a lot of points at the net. Badly needed score for Ava Munt and the Jaguars. Ava on that left side, going off speed, trying to lob it over that wall. That includes Kendall Minta, the Bradley commit. Jaguars will make a substitution on the serve. Lauren Wiskus to put the ball in play. Cross-court kill for Paige O'Connell. Eden Prairie up by 9, and if Jefferson can't find a way to create some openings or to pounce on them in the attacking game, Eden Prairie just too strong. Again, Jefferson playing shorthanded. Eden Prairie wins the net ball there. And you see the impact missing one of your top players can have. In the open, we mentioned, do you struggle or do you look for next woman up? Cassie Sieling scores, finding a space near the back line. For some teams, it's next woman up, but for Jefferson, their depth took a considerable hit when they lost Ellie Sieling on Tuesday. Erickson hit that one into the net. Eden Prairie well on their way to a set 2 win. But the Jaguars are going to do what they can to make a fight of it. Erickson gets the block. It's tough to see. Going in, this was one of the big matchups of the week. As Opstad serves that one into the net, and you can't control injuries on the broadcast end of things. Freak accidents happen anytime you compete in sports and put your body to the limit. Even Wayzata is down one of their big players, but Wayzata has the depth to compensate, as we saw in their win over Eastridge. Eden Prairie gets the block to close out set 2. Evelyn Scadam, I believe, got a piece of it. Eden Prairie outside of those net plays. Once they clean that up, Chad Becker called timeout, and Eden Prairie corrected those miscues, and they coasted the rest of the way. They trailed 11-9. They finished the second set on a 16-5 run. They take the second set 25-14, and I've got a feeling it will be a straight set sweep for the Eagles. We'll find out when we return.
When the high school season is over, TSP Television goes on the highlight trail. Our highlight reels provide you with a valuable resource for recruiters and a keepsake of your favorite athlete. To learn more about our highlight reel services, contact us at tsptelevision@gmail.com.
The student section liking what they're seeing, and unless Jefferson can find an avenue to exploit in their attacking game, Eden Prairie is going to get out of here with the win. They trailed 11-9. Chad Becker called a timeout. Eden Prairie cleaned up a lot of their miscues. Eden Prairie's biggest issue has been conceding points to Jefferson on net plays, whether they cross that center line or make contact with the net. Take that away, and Eden Prairie's attacking game looks pretty fluid. Jefferson trying to badger on without Ellie Sieling, one of their top players. The Sieling twins, a staple of Bloomington Jefferson volleyball. This is a team that knocked off Egan, but you take one of those players away, it's a testament to depth. In Wayzata's case, they lost a top player. They can still motor along. Jefferson struggling a little bit, trying to compensate for the lack of an offensive weapon. Cassie Sieling with another kill, but she hasn't had much help. Both the Sieling twins are hitters, so attacking is their prowess. And the Jaguars pick up another point from number 12, Allison Clare, with a two-handed tap. Capitalizing on the overpass. Minta. Jefferson makes the read that time, but another ball handling error. Unofficially, when you look at the stat line from this one, 9 service errors for Jefferson, 3 for Eden Prairie. Kills heavily in Eden Prairie's favor, but Jefferson looking to change that. Eleanor Erickson picks up a point. Jefferson had a total of 4 kills in the second set. They have 3 already here, and just 3 in the first set. This is what they need. A little more offense. A service error is not going to help. 10 service errors. Ball handling errors, 7 for the Jaguars, 1 for the Eagles. Jefferson was ready for that tap down. Ooh, that ball is pinballing around. Free ball for the Jaguars. Nice block by the Eagles. And Jefferson is there on the block again. Erickson making the play. And Bloomington Jefferson displaying some grit we haven't seen yet. The first couple of sets, a lot of their points were coming off of miscues, but not a lot of points of their own doing. And looks like we're getting a change of sorts. Kendall Minta with the cross-court kill. Minta and Etnis chipping in a few kills. Same with Paige O'Connell, and it looks like Jefferson making an adjustment on libero. Paris Alvarez is a defensive specialist. So Jefferson originally had Tabitha Achatz, but they decided to go to Paris Alvarez, so Dolman making a change there. Service error on the Eagles while I was making that observation. And here's someone who has struggled a bit on the serve in Opstad, but gets that one in play. And point for the Eagles on the hitting error against Melanie Meyer. (5-4). And Lauren Wiskus whiffed it. This is what you cannot afford if you're Eden Prairie, or I should say Jefferson. You can't be giving up these freebies because Eden Prairie's attacking game a little too strong. And another ace. That is another issue afflicting Jefferson in this game, as Cameron Berger picks up her first ace. Some miscommunication on rotations, and Jefferson looking out of sorts right now. Another hitting error. And that's going to be enough for Crystal Dolman to call a timeout. You can tell she's trying just about everything with this roster, putting in some different players on the rotation, but number 14, her name not on the program. She hesitated on the attack and then slapped it out of bounds. The student section, wait a minute. These aren't the Vikings. You can't do the skull chant. You're not the Vikings, although they do have a connection to the Vikings of sorts. Mike Grant, the longtime athletic director and football coach, the son of Bud Grant, who you may know from his time coaching the Purple and Gold at Metropolitan Stadium and then the Metrodome, two stadiums that no longer exist. I'm dating myself, even though I wasn't old enough to go to Met Stadium. I guess we'll let it slide. Eden Prairie, the student section, they're having fun on Tropical Night, but I don't know how the skull chant ties into that. Another good serve for the Eagles. Let's see if Jefferson can respond following the timeout. We talk about it a lot in basketball, but ATO plays just as crucial in volleyball. Jefferson getting a few ups here on this extended rally, and that did not cross the net. An extended rally all for naught. Melanie Meyer charged with a hitting error, and Eden Prairie up big in set 3. I should say on a big run. It's a 3-point margin. Cameron Berger serves that one out of bounds. Jefferson throwing everything they have at Eden Prairie in terms of rotations, roster, who goes where, trying to find something. Eden Prairie will have none of it. Evelyn Scadam, the 6-foot middle blocker with the block. EP with 3 6-footers on the roster. Minta, the tallest, at 6'3". Jefferson goes off speed, and it looked like Eden Prairie, that was Sieling who scored. Eden Prairie wasn't sure where that ball was going to go. Second try is the charm for Eden Prairie. Lillian Eknes, her initial shot was denied. The second try pays off, and she found a hole for the tap down. That did not cross the net. Another hitting error. Jefferson getting hampered with hitting errors in this third set. 3 unofficially on Lauren Wiskus. Kendall Minta with the rejection. Monica Lang. I thought I heard Lang, but in any event, Eden Prairie, they're up big. Jensen with the big up. Another extended rally, and that will be a point for Eden Prairie. Eleanor Erickson mistimed the jump. Caitlin Jensen with the service error. We mentioned at the start, consistency. That's going to be the key for Eden Prairie. They had a chance to knock off Southwest Christian, the #1 team in Class 2A. Lost in 5 sets, 15-13. Gave up 4 in a row to the Stars when they led 13-11. One person who is having some success, though, is Eleanor Erickson, unofficially 4 blocks. But when you look at how this game is unfolded, as Piper Lang, I believe, will get credit for that score, when Eden Prairie isn't making mistakes, their rhythm, their cohesion is winning out. They look more polished, more poised, and have a little more power. Eknes charged with a hitting error. Take away the net points, and Eden Prairie might have won that second set even more convincingly. Although 25-14 is nothing to sneeze at. That's only the second ball handling error on the Eagles. Really, the only issue has been net plays. Net ball. And it looked that way from here. Jefferson touched the net. I saw the net move, and usually when that happens, and it's not caused by a straddling of the tape, that means someone got a little too close. Jensen making some fine plays on defense for the Eagles. Another extended rally. And an off-speed one-handed tap for Melanie Meyer. And unofficially, Jefferson has accumulated the most kills of any set. They had 3 in the first, 4 in the second. They have 5 here in the third. They're going to need a few more if they want to make a run at Eden Prairie. Lillian Eknes has other ideas. The junior playing well. In terms of hitting, Eknes and Minta doing most of the damage. Minta rotates back to the service position. And Jefferson getting a few more plays in there. Melanie Meyer is starting to come around. Has a couple of hitting errors, but now has a couple of kills. The question is, can Jefferson put together a run? Because they trail 2-0, and that's not going to help. The 4th service error on Olivia Opstad. She plays setter and outside hitter, but just not finding the mark on her serves tonight. Here's that set we were talking about. And a point for Jefferson. Can Jefferson find a little more consistency? That's going to be their key. That won't help. Lauren Wiskus with their 4th hitting error of the game. EP on the block. They've got their smaller lineup out there. Again, that's a rotation scenario. When you see players in or out, it has to do with rotations. Double contact call on the Eagles. Jefferson scores the point, 18-15. You get the feeling that this is their chance. Ouch. Cassie Sieling's going to feel that one. I don't think Crystal Dolman's going to be too pleased with that. They've already lost one of the Sieling twins. The last thing you need is to have the other go down. But she looks to be okay. Goes off speed. Tries again. And gets it to fall. So Sieling beats the block. Some frenetic action taking place in this rally. Allison Clare scores for the Jaguars, and they're starting to get through that block set up by Kendall Minta. And the student section sensing, whoa, Minta with the heat. That sends Meyer to the floor. But we play on, but the student section sensing that the Eagles are in a little bit of trouble here, and that is a costly miscue for Erickson. She keeps that in, it's a 1-point game. Instead, Eden Prairie closing in on a straight set sweep. They lead 20-17, 5 more points, and they'll pick up the sweep. Eknes with the kill. Eden Prairie can't save it that time. And for this Jefferson team looking to find a renovated or refit identity after losing Ellie Sieling, how long, we're not sure. We have to wipe up a spot of perspiration first. You have to like the results from their hitting game in the third set. 9 kills. But they're trailing due to the number of errors they committed in this third set. But they have 9 kills unofficially to 5 for Eden Prairie, but when you commit so many errors, you give up a lot of points to the opponent. Take away those errors, and Jefferson would be in position perhaps to steal a set. But we play up to 25, so they're not out of it yet. Oh, that was close. And that's going to be a point for Jefferson. And they got really close to the net there, but did not cross that center line. And Jefferson trying to make this interesting. 21-19. We mentioned this earlier, no mistakes if you're Jefferson. Got to play mistake-free volleyball. And a tape kill for Melanie Meyer. That makes it a 1-point game. And that's the biggest difference. Jefferson finding a lot more offense outside of Sieling. That's what they need if they're going to continue to compete, not just in this game, but the remainder of the season. If Ellie Sieling is unable to return, that will help. And we're tied at 21. Eleanor Erickson scores again. Meyer and Erickson did not register a kill. They both have 3 unofficially, and that adds up. A lob that time, setting up for Minta. And Jefferson takes the lead on the one-handed hit by Melanie Meyer. Got Eden Prairie caught in the back row. Jefferson has scored 4 in a row, and that will be enough for Chad Becker to call timeout. It looked like Eden Prairie was going to run away with this thing, but Jefferson making some adjustments to their lineup, switching the libero, Paris Alvarez, but more importantly, over these last few points, no mistakes. Mistake-free volleyball, that's going to be the key. We mentioned earlier, consistency has been elusive at times for Eden Prairie. They started the season with a win over Waconia, a section foe. Bethlehem Academy, Lakeville South was the signature win that got them noticed in the polls. Lost to Southwest Christian in 5 sets. That could have gone either way. And this Bloomington Jefferson team who looked all out of sorts. I thought this was going to be a quick 3 and out the way it was going, but Bloomington Jefferson not out of this yet. I mention this all the time, though, in volleyball. It's an untimed sport, so as long as you're still in it, as long as nobody has reached 25, it's not over. And that's exactly what Eden Prairie needed following the timeout. A setup for Minta down the middle, and she slams it home with her patented velocity. To say this point is crucial will be an understatement, 22-all. Will go down as a block. 23-22. And now Jefferson calls timeout. Kendall Minta asserting her might in these last couple of points. Eden Prairie, again, if they win this, they win in straight sets, but still not over. Remember, Eden Prairie gave up 4 in a row to Southwest Christian. losing that one in 5 sets after they led 13-11. So until someone gets to 25, we don't have a winner. And once more, looking ahead for these two teams, and we're talking non-tournament play. Eden Prairie has a couple of winnable games, you would think, in Buffalo and Edina. And then a trio of tough matchups in the Lake Conference. STMA, Minnetonka, and Wayzata. STMA, one of the schools receiving votes in polls. Minnetonka and Wayzata both in the top 10. Wayzata, of course, number 1 in Class 4A. They have yet to drop a set. Bloomington Jefferson, they get Robbinsdale Cooper on Tuesday and Bloomington Kennedy, so a couple of chances. Actually, their schedule is favorable until they get Concordia Academy. Here we go. Jefferson answers valiantly. Melanie Meyer, what a turnaround for her. Couldn't buy a point. She has 5 kills unofficially in this 3rd set. She couldn't buy a point at all. And an ace for Paris Alvarez. And Jefferson has set point. Eden Prairie gets the save, but Jefferson with a chance. Meyer's been feeling it. Was that touched? No. Got to win by 2, so we're going to have some extra points here. Meyer scores off the block. 6 kills in the 4th set. And Jefferson, well, I'm going to tabulate some numbers if they win this set because they've been racking up points, finding flow in their offense. Net ball. We play on. Eden Prairie scores off the block. Paige O'Connell gets the deflection. Number 14 has struggled a bit, and O'Connell, sensing that, able to get it deflected off of her. We're tied again at 25, and again, you have to win by 2. O'Connell again. Cross court. Eden Prairie fighting off 2 set points. They have match point now, but not a done deal. Center dump. EP reads it. O'Connell. Couple of big ups, but it won't be enough. O'Connell comes up clutch late. Eden Prairie scores 3 in a row off of Paige O'Connell, and they win in straight sets. The 3rd one needed a little extra effort. 27-25, 25-14, 25-14, 27-25, the official line score. Tough break for Jefferson because they had racked up a lot of kills in the 3rd set. 14 unofficially. They had just 7 combined in the first 2 sets, but errors did them in. A lot of them in the first couple of sets. Eden Prairie cleaned up and made it interesting. Jefferson will have some positive takeaways from this in terms of discovering their identity without Ellie Sieling, but they have their work cut out for them as they try to reconfigure themselves moving ahead. Eden Prairie with a straight set win. We'll try to talk to a couple of the EP players before we wrap it up. This is high school girls volleyball. The Eagles knock off the Jaguars in straight sets.
Twin Cities sports broadcasting, and a whole lot more. That's what you get from TSB Television. We provide long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes from the preps to the pros. Dazzling moves.
Holloman, good if it goes. Yes!
Game winners.
From James. She's in trouble. Finds James. Toss shot! It goes in!
And everything in between.
Before we let you go, do you want to say hi to anybody?
Oh, I don't know. That put me on the spot there.
If you want to connect with our audience, visit us at patreon.com/TSB Television or sponsor our coverage through PayPal and Cash App. Thank you for watching.
And joining me are Kendall Minta and Paige O'Connell from Eden Prairie, winning in straight sets tonight. Kendall, we'll start with you. It was youth night, so you just finished up an autograph session with the younger fans in attendance. So getting a chance to get a glimpse of that next generation, what does it mean for a senior like yourself?
I think it's really cool to have the youth come out and support us. It's just, we work sometimes their clinics, so it's really cool to see them come support us and cheer them on and know that we could come back one day and they'll be the ones playing on the court. So,
all right, make sure you stay over here. We don't want you backing away into the abyss. As far as the game was concerned, your hitting and your blocking were huge tonight, especially as Jefferson made a run in that third set. But in the first couple sets, you found your rhythm, and once you cleaned up those net calls, you really found some fluidity. So what would you make of the progression of tonight's game?
yeah, I think we had a rough start, but I think as the game went on, we just came together and we talked in the huddle, and we just needed to play for each other and play as a team. So I think we started talking a lot more and playing a lot more as a team, and as a result, we played a lot better.
And what would you make of the season so far? You picked up a big win over Lakeville South. You get another win against Jefferson, another ranked team. So the resume is looking pretty good at this point of the season.
I think we're here to compete. I think we had big goals and we had the skill. I think we play together really well as a team and we all gel really well. So I think knowing that, and if we play well and we keep building on what we have so far, we could do really big things this season.
Paige, Jefferson had a pair of set points in the third set. You fought them off. You scored 3 straight to close out the game. How nervous were you when Jefferson made the run, and what did you find within you to get those 3 straight points to close it out?
I think just with the help of our teammates, we have really good team chemistry. So once that timeout was called, I think it was 22-23. It was really just like a mental reset for us, and I just think it was a time where we just took a deep breath and we all looked at each other and knew that we could win this game.
Your head coach mentioned consistency is something you're working on, trying to locate as the season moves along. How do you think this victory gets you a step closer to finding it?
I think this was a big win for us, considering that Jefferson is the number 2 ranked team in the state. And just during practice, we always work hard, working on consistency and just working as a team every point. And I think that really showed tonight.
Now, Kendall, for anyone like the youth you got to serenade and greet, for someone that maybe has aspirations of becoming a dual threat like you are, whether it's hitting or blocking, what advice would you recommend to the kids who came here tonight and anyone else watching this?
I think, one, just work really hard and trust your teammates. I think I have a lot of trust in my team, and without them, I couldn't do what I do on the court. So I think just believing in them and encouraging them, it's a big part. Volleyball is a huge team sport, so I think relying on them and knowing they have my back is a huge part of that success.
And you'll continue that success and that team sport camaraderie next year at Bradley. Actually, one of a few Minnesotans going out there to play volleyball. So after everything that happened last year, having that shortened season, we don't know what this season will bring. But so far, everything is closer to normal. But to have an opportunity to go out there, showcase your talent, and get that opportunity to play at the next level, how big is that for you?
I'm super excited. Obviously, with COVID, everything's been really crazy, but I really love the coaching staff at Bradley, and I'm super excited to be able to play at the next level and hopefully continue having big goals and being successful there in college.
Well, and Paige, with your 3 straight points, maybe some college coaches might take a look at this tape, but what are some goals of yours as you continue this season and beyond?
For our team, I know it's something we talk about at practice a lot, but state is a huge goal for us. So just coming to practice every day and getting better and working as a team is just a huge goal for us this year.
Before we wrap it up, you want to say hi to anybody?
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Well, hello, mothers, and anyone else cheering on Eden Prairie. The student section, I know, came out in full force tonight, and the youth brought some energy as well. Great atmosphere. Congrats on the win, and we'll see if you can build off of that as you continue late conference play.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kendall Minta and Paige O'Connell, that wraps up our coverage here from Eden Prairie High School. For the rest of our crew, I'm Mike Beaton. Thanks for watching.